Hello everyone, Coach Crimson here, and you might notice I'm out of jail. Yeah, I'm out of jail finally, I'm at home. Prison guard said data mining isn't illegal. It wasn't even really data mining, so I guess they realized that, and I'm out of jail. And the first thing I noticed when I'm out of jail, Furia and many other teams are playing, and I think G2 and other teams are playing this comp. Blood, Horizon, Bangalore. So I've been getting a lot of questions about like why this team is kind of risen up, and I'll give my thoughts on it. This is kind of my service level analysis. I've done a little more than service level analysis on this, but um, in reality, this is definitely a fighting team comp, and it's really cool, right? One of the first teams to really play with the idea of running something away from the standard Seer Horizon Valk was TSM, because Raven realized you don't need to always have the Seer, right? Seer is nice, and it clears up communication. That's one of the reasons why Seer is so good. But people forgot you can fight without Seer. There were days of old when you didn't need a Seer to fight, and pros used their positioning communication to overwhelm enemies. And that's one of the reasons why teams crutch on Seer is they kind of got so used to fighting in Seer ults. They kind of got used to this handshake. Oh, I throw my Seer ult, you throw your Seer ult, we'll fight in this dome. Best man wins type of deal, right? The reality is that a lot of teams started doing this. You can bait out Seer ult, you can shoot it, you can move, you can dictate the fight somewhere else other than that Seer ult, right? And the idea of not running Seer is a good one because imagine you run another character that provides more damage than Seer, like Fuse or like Bangalore or like other utilities in other areas, right? The reason why Seer Valk have become such a prominent comp in this space is because you can put the Seer all down and now you have a character like Valk who can just play around with her space and her mobility and abuse teams, right? But now that we're in a situation where everyone already is familiar with that style, right? What is this comp? What does that comp rather provide in terms of fighting power? Just those two main combinations, right? Horizon gives you that oomph, that initiation, that alt that really screws teams up. But the reality is you got to set up that Seer Valk for a good situation to deliver that intel, right? So it's overwhelmingly fighting by having intel, right? So the next part of that is Valkyrie. Do you need a Valkyrie if you're an edge team that thrives on killing people on edge? Not necessarily, right? Valkyrie provides you again that intel with Seer and fighting, but if you're a fighting team on edge already, then the chances are that Valk ult is only gonna give you more options to fly away if you don't want to fight a team. But if you're the best team in the lobby, you're not gonna necessarily need that ult, right? Thus, the birth of, like I said, that TSM kind of sparked that idea a little bit. I mean, I'm not gonna say sparked, but like started that idea in the first place with Raven. But as you can see, with all those put together, right, you don't necessarily need Valk, you don't necessarily need Seer. Horizon's still a premier, if not the best fighting champion in the game, legend in the game. What would you add to that? Well, Bangalore and Blood are a good combination, first of all, just because of the smokes and then Digis. So smokes plus Digis is great for Bang and the team. So for teams that are going through IMC, or Spiders, or any way to guarantee a Digi, amazing, or Crafter, amazing. But without Digi, you still have Bangalore, or sorry, you still have Blood to see scans through smoke. Then you have a scan character still, right? So like this team is a full fighting comp, right? You have Blood that can be put on a roller or just anyone in same mechanics, and you have the speed, the scans that is pretty close to Seer, right? You have people arguing that Blood was just a better Seer back in the days where people didn't know how Seer was, right? The uptime of his ult compared to Seer is pretty comparable, right? If you do the math, it's like literally is very comparable, right? Seer ult is superior, but Blood ult is still nothing to scoff at. So we're gonna kind of take a look at this fights, right? Like you have combination of all. I'm gonna say some of the combinations of the alt you can do, not necessarily important for this comp, but like Bangalore alt plus Horizon alt, amazing. Bangalore smoke plus Blood in general, amazing. And then you just have the movement from Bangalore plus the movement of Horizon, that's just amazing. So without further ado, we're gonna kind of go over some of these games here. Right, so Fury's walking up on a team right here on this rock. And right away, you just have a Bang alt. And look at the timings of these fights, right? They're always on edge. They're always when the ring is closing or close to closing. And this team does not have many options, right? Most teams are probably not going to ape this on edge when the ring is about to be going, farther down. So let's look at that, right? They just, simple. He just walked up, smoked, has Digi, and just, easy, right? You're just getting overwhelmed. And I've talked about this in the past. Bangalore is a very disruptive character, but it was hard to really pair her with somebody other than a certain amount of people. And one thing I never really thought of, to be quite honest, is I've always thought of Bangalore versus the Seer comp as not winning, but when I looked at it from a different angle, don't necessarily need to win against Seer comps. Right? What I mean by that is like if you play Seer in his win con, which is the Seer ult, then you're gonna lose. But with this comp, you don't necessarily have to play to their ult to their win con, which is kind of like what I realized. You just disrupt the enemy and play around it. And then you can see here, open up with Horizon Q, open up with Bang Smoke, get angles, and they just got overwhelmed really quickly in disruption. So really good fight there. Go to another one here. This game, is it this game? I think it's game 3. So I'm not gonna show. This is not really the Bang comp coming into handy, but it's really nice. So you can see he called a Q, and then it is beamed right here. So this isn't really the comp coming in handy, it's more just Horizon. But this team is stuck on. There's 2 teams in this building. I think one of them might have died, and they need to be able to direct them. But again, look at timer. The pressure in the team right before zone close, which is really good. And then look what happens. Zone starts closing. They pressure the team. I think maybe some kills happened here in one of the teams here. Zone's closing, and where does the other team have to go? They have to walk out. They can't Valk ult safely because there's teams around them. Now this is prime for Bang ult, right? Like you have 2 teams fighting each other. They're getting pinched. They have to walk in. And look at this. This is just a part, I will say the execution on this fight was not to their liking, but you can kind of see the idea, right? Teams walking in. You have a free disruption. They're stuck in this area having to heal. Unfortunately, the execution does not go down well, and they kind of go down here. But like you kind of see the idea, right? Bang ult can be used in ways to initiate fights and to disrupt fights really well. And again, let me say that this is a really hard comp to pull off. And you have to be the better fighting team, and you have to definitely practice this, right? Like right here, the execution went down. This should have been a clean fight for them, and then they lost those 2 people. And I'm skipping over some of these fights because they're not exactly necessarily like the Bang Horizon being the one winning the fights here. That was the next game I want to look at. I don't know this fight. Did they? Here you go. And there are better examples of other teams. I just can't find them at the moment. But there's other combinations of plays I've seen other teams do that are better, but I just don't know where the odds are. Oh, sorry, they get up in this bridge. Okay, here's the situation. Oh, it's Spray 4. Sorry, I'm like, here we go. I apologize. Okay, so they come up 1 or 2 on bridge, and especially for teams that don't have a lot of space to play, Bang Smoke just gives you more space to play. And for teams that don't have space to play, like you can see the kind of theme here. Both teams that they're killing were playing center comps that have no space, and you're able to choke them out. It's kind of cool. The smoke provides you cover. You can just kind of punish you have Digis and Bang, or sorry, Blood to help you out and overall. And it's like a kind of interesting comp, right? It's a different way to think of things, right? And again, when you think of it as a 1-to-1 with the other edge teams, it was an interesting fight. And I think with a lot of teams going towards center now, this is another good comp for disruption, right? And you see all the teams that they've fought don't have Seers, right? Again, when I thought about this comp in the past, I've been very skeptical of this comp. And again, when I was skeptical of the comp, I was thinking of it as a Blood, Bang, Valkyrie. It's a little tough, but when you take out Valkyrie and you just full commit to the full fighting power, it's pretty good. And again, let me just remind everyone who's watching this video, a lot of teams that they're fighting don't have Seers. Right? Maybe they do or they don't have Seer ult, but they're playing their fights really well, and a lot of teams are going to watch Fury and go, oh wow, this is amazing. But you have to understand, their rotates and their teams they're killing are very, in my opinion, probably planned, right? I'm not gonna say like I'm in their comms. I know I'm in their. Sorry, what the fuck did I just watch? But I'm pretty sure that with their team dynamic and their coach C-Line, they're a very well prepared team, right? I have no doubt in my mind that these are fights that are crafted and rotations that are crafted that are meant to kill teams that are not having Seers, right? And even if they did fight a Seer team, I think they are well versed enough to fight Seer teams on their terms, right? What I mean by that is like they initiate a fight in the Seer team. Seer team ults, they smoke away, they Q away, or they reposition or disrupt the fight enough where they can't capitalize on the Seer ult, and then they just go in and kill them after their cooldowns are down. Right? Seer is a little overwhelmed when there's smokes, and I played against smokes before. It's really annoying to have to fight people through smokes because you don't see what's going on. There's like rocks in the way. It just like if you pick spikes in certain areas, it's just really really wild. So overall, that's all I wanted to really talk about. This team, this is not the only team doing it. I think G2 is also doing it, but Furia is the one team that's doing it the best at the moment. G2 doesn't seem to be having a good grips on this team. They kind of just run it as is comfortable for them and just running it with like not. I think G2 is a very good example of a team running it that doesn't have as fine-tuned game plans. Not to say that G2 doesn't have game plans, but it's not as finely tuned as Furia. And Furia, with their great performance on this day, you can definitely see that it's coming to fruition here. Anyways, I'm driving on too long. Again, I'm gonna be doing more analysis on the team later. This is just kind of like surface level what they're doing with it so far. A great team comp, especially again if you're a fighting team, if you are very mechanical and you're comfortable with not playing without a Valk, right? Playing without a Valk is really hard, especially in the meta when everyone's gotten used to playing with a Valk, and the POIs that you can do it from is pretty important, right? You can't just blanket run this team on every POI. There's definitely certain POIs that really benefit from running this team. So, anyways, hope you like this video. Please let me know what your thoughts as well. Again, a team that I definitely did not see coming. I would have definitely said bad